Out of the ashes, you will rise. If you feel sad, lost, depressed, finances are in the gutter, social life, you're lonely, out of the ashes, you will rise. Here in my garage, invest in yourself. Always be curious. Don't be a cynic. Sleeping on a couch in a mobile home with only $47 in my bank account. When everything's burnt to the ground, when you're sad, lost, and depressed, and everything's at rock bottom, you get to rebuild the exact and precise way you want the damn thing rebuilt. Health, wealth, love, happiness, each of these 4 goals.
In case you missed the last episode, make sure you go back and check it out. Here's what went down.
You want to be the old man in the Ferrari? Because I live in Beverly Hills. There's some old ass mofos pulling up in Aventadors. I don't want my first Lamborghini at age 100.
Coming up today.
So many people miss out on life because anything, like you said, that they haven't heard growing up, they'll be like, I don't want to try. If you look at everybody who made money, billionaires, they experimented with something when other people thought it was crazy. Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, the Gracie diet, and today it's amazing. I have Horion Gracie here. His father, who's actually right here, is the man who created Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and the son here, Horion, brought Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to the United States, was the co-creator of the UFC in 1993, which is now everywhere you go, you've got mixed martial arts, and it really comes back to his family. So he's just nice enough to come by the house, and I wanted to just share with you some very important things, not just about diet, but about philosophy on life, overcoming stress, worry, how to discipline yourself, how to create a daily routine, you know, really how to transform your life. So thank you for coming.
My pleasure, thank you very much.
He's a 9th degree red belt. This belt right here is the highest belt you can get. His father is a 10th degree. There's only the founders of Jiu-Jitsu, the brothers here, and so there's only a few people that have the red belt 9th degree.
That's correct.
Yeah.
It's a handful of people around the world.
And then you have, and your sons, Henner he's a black belt still.
Yes.
Because to become a red belt,
you have to be at least 50, so they have a ways to go.
yeah, because the coral belt comes in between, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
The black belt goes up to 6 degrees,
Yeah.
and then 7th and 8th are coral belts. And then 9th
Is red.
Is red.
Oh, okay. I am not. I am a blue belt, so I have a long way to go. But
you're advancing. You got a red belt in other subjects, so good for you.
no, not a red belt. Not a red belt. Maybe a brown in some other areas. One of the most common questions I get is how to overcome procrastination, discipline yourself, build a daily routine that's productive.
That's right.
Your family came to America. What was it? When was it? 94 you started the UFC?
93, actually.
93.
Yeah.
And nobody could beat the Gracie family. Everybody was doing karate, they were doing boxing, they were wrestling. I remember watching the first UFC 1, 2, 3, and one skinny Gracie family member came and just nobody could. How many did he win?
He won 3 UFCs, the first.
He won the first 3 against people. That was when there was no weight classes.
That's right, no weight class, no time limits.
No time limit. People were it was vicious. And he was about, how's he related to you?
Royce is my little brother.
That's your brother?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So Royce came in and he's probably 170 pounds.
Something like that.
Right?
75 or something like that.
Yeah.
He was the lightest guy on the event for sure.
Yeah.
But was a very good example of what proper technique can do. So he went in there and put on a nice show, and ultimately changed the world.
Yeah, it's changed the world. Now there's your family, your sons have schools. I mean, there's schools around the world. I was just down in San Diego. I just trained now. I found a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Academy, trained there. Almost every country in the world has something. I was in Norway, they're doing Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
So what's the story for someone who doesn't know? Take us back over 100 years ago.
Okay, thank you again for the opportunity. It's great to be here.
No, thank you.
A former jiu-jitsu instructor came to Brazil about 100 years ago,
Okay.
early 1900s, as an aide to the Japanese immigration colony.
Was he from Japan?
He was from Japan.
Okay.
And my grandfather, Gaston, was a very influential man in Brazil at the time. So he helped the Japanese gentleman get settled in northern Brazil. And to show his gratitude, the Japanese instructor, offered to teach jiu-jitsu to my then 13-year-old Uncle Carlos, who was the oldest of 8 kids, 5 of whom were boys. Uncle Carlos was kind of a wild kid, but as soon as he started learning jiu-jitsu, he found himself with that and fell in love with the art. Trained under the Japanese instructors for a few years, and when the family moved from northern Brazil to Rio, he then started teaching jiu-jitsu to his friends and, of course, sharing with his brothers.
Right.
My dad, Elio, was physically a very frail child.
He was the small one in the family, right?
Yeah, he was younger than the other ones also. He's 11 years younger than my Uncle Carlos, but still had a very frail health. He would run up a flight of stairs and have fainting spells.
Wow.
And nobody knew exactly why. So the doctors at the time recommended he be kept away from any kind of physical activity.
Wow.
So my dad used just to watch his brothers practice jiu-jitsu. Nothing else to do, no television, just kind of spend the day watching his brothers. Until one day, when he was 16 years old, a student came for a class and my uncles were not around to teach the class. So my father offered to teach the men a lesson. And the guy agreed, okay, kid, let's play. My father stepped on the mat and taught the men a lesson. When Uncle Carlos showed up, very apologetic, I'm sorry I'm late, let's have the class. The student said, listen, I had a class with your little brother Elio and I liked it. In fact, I want to be his student from now on. My dad was promoted to be a teacher by his student.
Wow.
What the old man soon realized is that the techniques he had memorized require a certain amount of physical ability and strength and speed, which he did not have.
Okay.
So to trial and error, he started modifying the traditional Japanese techniques that the brothers were practicing and giving more emphasis to natural body movements, simpler, shorter moves, better timing, better leverage, and so forth. And that modification is what gave birth to what's known today as Gracie Jiu-Jitsu or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes.
So my dad did not invent Jiu-Jitsu, he just made it easier for the little guy, like you'd like to explain himself as. In order to test these changes in the martial arts, you can't just theorize about that. So he started issuing challenges to everybody in Brazil. And becoming very successful in the challenge matches against different styles of martial arts.
So he would just fight. He would I heard he would put something in the newspaper, anybody come fight me, or something like this.
Uncle Carlos started with that.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to have a broken arm or a broken rib, call me. Carlos Gates and such and such an address.
You know that's going to get men macho. Men are macho. They're going to show up and be like, who is this guy?
But ultimately, my dad started challenging everybody and defeating everybody and became the first sports icon in Brazil's history.
Wow.
Now, back in the 30s, Pelé, the soccer player, wasn't even born.
Yeah.
So there was nobody else in terms of sports that the Brazilian youth had to root for. And like I said, the old man became this iconic figure that's beyond anything else.
And he's for people who know belt system, you see, him and his brother and the brothers are the only red belt 10th degree.
Yes, that's many
That's
years
the
later.
highest.
That's the highest end.
And you're a 9th degree
I'm a 9th degree, yes.
red belt, which is the highest you can get
That is
because
correct. Because I'm not
you're
the founder
a
of the
founder.
art. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Anyway, so my dad started challenging everybody, becoming this huge guy in Brazil, very popular. The family became very, defeating everybody and stuff like that, very successful. And then fought the longest fight in history, one round of 3 hours and 40
Wow.
minutes.
Who was that against?
Valdemar Santana, former student of his at the academy.
Was it a Japanese or
No,
a
it's not a
Brazil-
Japanese, a Brazilian guy, yeah.
Wow.
25 years old. My dad was 43 years old at the time, and the fight was just crazy long. Anyway, so
Wait, who won?
ultimately the guy won the fight.
But it
because
took 3 hours.
3 hours and 40 minutes. And my father basically lost to exhaustion eventually. He eventually was just so tired he couldn't take it anymore. But anyways,
Wow.
there was a very impressive fight and for both of them and stuff like that. So my dad becoming this huge guy in Brazil, for me it was growing up as if I was living with Superman.
Right.
You know, everybody knew the old man like a movie star. Wherever he goes, very popular, that kind of stuff. And it was great to be born up in a family like this. Everybody knows it's a very convenient stuff. When I was 16 years old, I decided to come to the United States. So I saved money for a year teaching my private class, which I started teaching very young. And in the Gracie family, you don't have much of a choice of how early you start doing jiu-jitsu. You're pretty much conceived for
You
this.
started at
You know, a little
You have a
picture-
grandson that's how old? Or
I have 10 grandchildren.
10 grandchildren.
Yes.
And they start when
they
they're
just started. As soon as
1
they
year,
start, yeah.
6 months.
There's a diaper and then there's a kimono hiding the diaper, you know. Anyways, so I started saving money by teaching class and stuff like that. And then at 17, I came to the United States to spend a month's vacation. I found that right before I came, that if I was a member of the YMCA, I would have a $1 discount, which for me at the time was a lot of money. So with saving my money and stuff like that, I stayed at the YMCA here in Hollywood
Oh, really?
Yes.
So you mean to sleep?
to sleep.
Oh,
At
wow.
the time
Not
they
to
had-
go to the gym.
No,
Okay.
no, to sleep. They were like a hostel all the time.
Yeah.
People could come in and sleep. So I joined the YMCA in Brazil a month before I came so I could get the ID and become I'm a member. So I came here and stayed at my YMCA. And for security reasons, I didn't want to leave my cash and my return ticket in my room.
Okay.
So I gave it to the receptionist to put on the safe of the company, which he did. A week later, when I went to get some more cash, I find out that the receptionist had stolen my cash and my ticket. So I called the manager and he said, I'm very sorry. I'm going to give you a couple of bucks to buy a sandwich, but I'm not buying you a new ticket. Call the airline company, which I did. They told me that it's going to take them 6 months to make sure nobody used my ticket so they could give me a new one.
Wow.
So I did not want to leave my father, worried about it. So I called my dad in Brazil and said, Dad, guess what? I love America. I'm going to be here for at least another 6 months.
So fate.
I didn't tell the old man that, fate indeed, yes. I didn't tell the old man that had no money, no ticket, didn't speak English, didn't know anybody. He would have a heart attack. So I learned very early on in my life.
How old were you then?
17.
So you weren't even 18 and you were in a new country.
That's right.
No money.
No money, no nothing.
Yeah.
Yes. I learned very early on in my life that all bad things happen for a good reason.
Huh.
No matter what, how
You
bad
think
it is,
all-
100%, no doubt. No doubt. I'm a living example of that.
But do you think you have to recognize that and turn it into good? Because sometimes people, something bad happens and they get so depressed they never learn from it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the trick. If they can turn things around and say, wait, what's the good in it for me? It changed immediately.
Yeah.
Always, invariably. Or look at all different, crossroads in your life where something very, very bad happened. Ultimately, it's for the good. So it creates a new opportunity. That's the way I see it has happened to me many times.
Yeah.
Anyways, but just a question of looking at things. Once you can see, a person can see a glass half full, half empty, depends on the way you see the things. For me, it worked out well to understand and accept that mindset. Okay. So I find myself eventually looking for work and find myself flipping hamburgers at a place called White Castle, doing mini burgers.
Yeah.
And then my trip that was going to be a month-long trip stretched out to be a year-long trip. That's 1970. Find myself for a few days literally struggling, no money, panhandling on the street corners, asking for a spare change so I could eat, sleeping in a newspaper on the sidewalk. All that is part of growing up. And ultimately, after 1 year, got a ticket, went back to Brazil, everything worked out fine. But all I could think about is America. I was just good. I got hooked. I loved the idea of, the land of opportunity and being able to support myself at 17, 18 years old for a year. And that was fascinating, Saw Jimi Hendrix in concert a couple of times. It was really nice. Yes. And so anyway, it was a great experience, made some good friends. And then I spent 2 years, after I returned to Brazil, I spent 2 years saving money so I could come back to the States, which I did in 72. Visit some friends for a few months, and then went back to Brazil, went to law school in Brazil, graduated law school. I'm an attorney.
Oh, okay.
I never practiced law, but I have a law degree. And then after finishing law school in 78, I decided it was time to come back to the United States and share the jiu-jitsu that my family had perfected with the rest of the world. That was my dream. So I came back. I first stayed with these friends of mine whose mother was an actress. So I would stay, she would go to work in the studios and I would be home alone.
Okay.
But I can't be doing nothing, so I had to do something. So I'm washing the windows, I'm cleaning the bathrooms, I'm cooking dinner, cutting the grass, anything to show appreciation for her letting me stay at her place. And before you know it, I started looking for work, and she said, what do you want to do? I said, anything. Do you want to clean other people's homes? I said, of course. So I started calling her friends. She started calling her friends. Say, hey, my friend Jorge does a great cleaning work. Oh, send him over here, over here. So I'm cleaning everybody's house, right? A whole bunch of ladies, everybody in the business. And eventually I landed on the house of a woman whose husband was the assistant director on the TV show Starsky and Hutch.
Oh, yeah.
And 35 years ago, she says, hey, you're not a bad-looking guy. How come you're not in the movie business? I said, that's right. How come I'm not in the movie business? She said, take some pictures, and my husband will take you to a casting office, and you start doing extra work. And I said, done.
Oh, wow.
Hung up my broom, and I started doing extra work. Fantasy Island, Hill Street Blues, Heart to Heart,
Wow.
Rockford Files, Quincy, Love
So
Boat.
from Brazil right to Hollywood.
Right to Hollywood. So now I'm doing extra work in the movies, having fun with that. And at the same time, I left the lady's house, rented a house with some friends of mine, put some mats in my garage, and every person I met I invited for a free class.
Huh.
So I'm working on the movies as an extra 5 days a week and teaching class Saturdays and Sundays.
Okay.
As my schedule get busy and I start working more here, I start cutting down the hours working in the movies and teaching more classes.
Right.
So first class is on the house. I happen to be an amazing teacher. People are going to fall in love with the class for sure.
Yeah.
And then if you like it, you bring a friend, they'll get you another free class. If you bring 10 friends, I'll get you 10 free classes.
Yeah.
And that's how the word was spreading around. It was not uncommon. I started teaching class in my garage for 1979, early 80s. that somebody would say, Jorge, my former Kung Fu instructor, or karate, or taekwondo, or wrestling, or boxing, or judo, does not believe in jiu-jitsu. He thinks that I'm wasting my time training with you. He wants to challenge to a challenge. He wants to challenge you to a fight. Would you accept that? I said, of course, bring him in. So the guy would bring the martial arts instructor to challenge me to a no-holds-bar fight in my garage on 3rd Street, Hermosa Beach. And of course, I'll tell my students, say Tuesday night, 8 o'clock, some Kung Fu guys.
So you have everybody watch.
Everybody come in and watch.
Some of those are on YouTube.
Well,
Maybe is it your brother, Hickson? Is Hickson your brother?
Yeah, Hickson is my brother, yes.
Because I've seen some challenges.
There's some challenge in the old
Kung
days.
Fu guy always loses.
Well, Kung Fu is like other martial arts, they're all good. They're just
Yes.
limited on their possibilities.
Right.
You know, it's not my
They're
fault.
not completely rounded out.
That's right. It's
Yeah.
not my fault. Somebody had to be number one. I just happen to be it. So the bottom line is this. So these guys from different styles of martial arts kept coming to the house and challenged me over and over and over, hundreds of times on a 10-year span.
Wow, really? That many times?
Yes, hundreds of times. So I'm bringing someone tonight. Great.
Did you win every time?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not me. It's what I know.
The sport. I mean, not the sport, the skill.
As we say in Brazil, in a blind man's land, he who has one eye is king.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the striking martial arts, karate, kung fu, boxing, taekwondo, they rely on punching.
Yeah.
Right? And it's okay that you can punch someone. If the guy's bigger, heavier, and stronger, you can knock him out, great. But if you're fighting someone who's bigger, heavier, and stronger than you, and you rely on a punch, even if you punch him on the face and break his nose, that doesn't mean he's going to stop.
Right.
He cannot get a hold of you, throw you on the ground, and if you don't know how to deal with the grappling aspect of it, you're
Right.
very limited.
Yeah.
And the realism that my father had adapted and implemented on the jiu-jitsu techniques that we do is to deal with the person who is bigger, heavier, and stronger, and wants to crush you on the ground also.
Because that's usually the most dangerous situation.
Of course.
You get attacked by somebody, for women too.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's the realistic situation. You don't want to fight a little 5-year-old kid.
Right.
It's the kid's father they'll have you
Right.
worried about. You know, the guy's big, strong, and wants to beat you up. So you have to know how to defend yourself from that. It's not even a question of beating them up, but knowing enough that you won't get hurt.
Yeah.
That's the science.
Yeah.
Of jiu-jitsu especially. Anyways, so the guys would come and challenge, and we had this whole bunch of challenge matches and stuff like that. And like I said, after 10 years, it dawned on me that I could not be in a garage challenging one person at a time to show the world about. That's not the way to go. You gotta, and then we rented a little school in Torrance, the Gracie
Is that
Academy.
the school that's still there?
No, that's
But
another
it
one.
was still in Torrance.
It was in Torrance also, yes.
Okay, yeah.
And people say, gosh, how come you stayed in Torrance,
Yeah.
And I said, I have so many cop friends. They were coming to have class with me in the garage, and I said, these guys are my friends. Sometimes my lead foot, I go faster than I should in the stop sign. And the guy said, hold on, go slow, I'll see you in class tonight. I said, I'm not getting out of this town. That's kind of why I stay around the neighborhood. Anyway, so after hundreds of challenge matches like that, it dawned on me that I couldn't be doing this with one-on-one in a garage or even a small school in Torrance. That's the videos you're talking about, the ones we have on the Academy in Torrance. On the first one, some challenge matches.
Yes.
And it's on the Gracie in Action DVDs we have. So what happens after those, it dawned on me, I can't do this. So I came up with the concept of creating the UFC, where you can showcase to the world different styles of martial arts fighting against one another.
Yeah.
In a 3-fight elimination. Remember, there are 8 fighters.
Yeah.
They fight each other. The losers get out. They keep fighting each other until we have one guy defeating everybody that night.
And that was when there's no weight classes.
No weight classes, no time limits.
How
no
many years
points.
was that?
That was the first 5 UFCs.
First 5 UFCs.
The first 5 UFC, yes. That's when I was involved in UFC.
Yeah.
Those days. And because for me, it was very important to allow different styles of martial arts to do anything and everything they wanted. You couldn't have rules.
Yeah.
The idea of the octagon, for example, I've been in enough fights that you can see if the guy starts getting beat up, he wants to run away between the ropes in a boxing ring.
Yeah.
But the idea of the cage is so the guy can't run away.
Yeah.
In fact, movie director John Milius, who was a student of mine at the time, John, I invited him to be the creative director, and John and I came up with the concept for the octagon. We thought of a moat with alligators, a shark tank around, so that if the guy want to run away, you get chewed up by sharks and stuff. But ultimately, we settled for the octagon. It turned out to be a great idea.
Yeah.
It's still happening today.
They still call it the octagon.
Yes. So it worked out great. So with that said, of course, I think I mentioned to you, I was.
How old were you? So this is in 1994 when you started UFC?
93.
Three.
The first one, yeah. I have 47, 48, something like
Okay.
that, yes. So eventually the thing, of course, exploded. It caught on big time. It was a very successful experience, and just turned out to be a great showcase opportunity for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And the message and the dream I had of making people realize the importance of knowing jiu-jitsu was done. I mean, after the first event, the U.S. Army calls me up and said, Mr. Gracie, we saw the little guy beat the big guy. We need to learn this, and asked me to create a program for them, which I did, that for the last 25 years has been the official hand-to-hand combatives program for the U.S. Army.
Really?
Now
That you
the-
created?
Yes.
Wow.
Now the FBI, the Secret Service, the DEA, Border Patrol, every major federal law enforcement agency in the country, and a whole bunch of PDs as
And
well.
Secret Service, and
Everybody.
Special Forces. you said.
Everybody, yes. All of them train jiu-jitsu now. The whole thing is official. It's all over the place.
Wow.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Nice group of friends to have, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Good group to have behind you.
That's right. So once this stuff exploded, and I kind of, the dream is fulfilled, I'm like this. You know, now
Right.
what? So a few years ago, as you know, the boys came up, Hiro and Henry came up with the idea of Gracie University.
Yes.
Which is now
Which
has
is great.
reached.
It's an online school.
It's an
you
online
feel.
school that you can learn jiu-jitsu online. It has reached, you know, a ridiculous amount of people. The United Nations has 193 countries affiliated to it. Gracie University has 196 countries.
More than United
Yeah.
Nations.
We're welcoming more countries than the United Nations, which is an amazing idea, brilliant idea. The boys are very dedicated, pushing that button to making it happen and so forth. But for me, it's like jiu-jitsu it's on a fast track. Now what?
Yeah.
And one day, about 5 years ago, I had this epiphany. It's the health.
The health part.
It's the health part of it.
Because
That's
one
what
thing
it is.
people should understand is that jiu-jitsu, people who practice it, it's not just fighting. It's a whole way of thinking about life, a discipline.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu does impact your level of confidence.
Right.
And when you're confident, it changes a lot of the aspects of the prospect that you have in life. I mean, the whole thing changes. One thing is you walk around insecure. The other one is a businessman. If you're confident on your possibilities, you deal with that meeting in a way that is very different.
Yeah.
So the confidence aspect of jiu-jitsu is really impactful in one's life.
Yeah.
So there's that side to it. And of course, the exercise, the fitness, all that good stuff. But the diet is beyond that.
Yeah. And so you wrote this book.
I
How
wrote the
long
book.
ago did you write this?
5 years ago.
5 years ago, The
Yes.
Gracie Diet. And I've read this before, and you brought me another copy.
Yes.
And the key thing, and one of the things for people, there's so many diets out there. One of the unique things about this diet is it's big on food combinations.
Yes.
Because a lot of diets say, don't eat bread. You know, if you're ketogenic, don't eat fruit or eat lots of fruit. And yours is much more about you can eat it, but not together.
That's correct.
Yeah.
The concept of the idea of the Gracie diet developed by my Uncle Carlos. By the way, as soon as my dad and his brothers started getting involved in the early days in competing, fighting, pretty much running the academy, Uncle Carlos was the first one to learn jiu-jitsu in the Gracie family, took a step back, became the manager for the brothers, and started studying how to keep everybody healthy.
Right.
They are not big, strong guys. They couldn't afford to have a headache before a fight.
Yeah.
Or a toothache, or a stomach ache, or a heartburn.
Yeah.
If you're gonna fight, it's gonna impact your performance. He realized very early on the close correlation between good health and good performance.
Yeah.
If you have to do a speech tomorrow and you have
Right.
1 grain of rice in your shoe, it's gonna mess up your speech.
Right.
Because that little grain of rice becomes a distraction.
Right.
Let alone an ulcer or a heartburn or a headache. So you can't just wonder if that's gonna happen or not. People are so accustomed to feel good one day and bad on the other. They don't know the ingredients of your food.
Okay.
Therefore, if your body's alkaline, you feel great the whole time. There's no
Yeah.
headaches, there's no stomach aches, nothing. Everything works perfect. By sometimes people just are guided by the pleasure of what they're eating.
Yes.
And pleasure becomes the determining factor why they eat this or that, because they like to eat.
Yeah.
Now remember, food is a very cultural thing. Great grandma taught grandma, grandma taught mom, mom taught us, and we're gonna teach our kids what we like to eat. Bottom line is not everything you like is good for you.
Yeah,
The guy
especially
who's-
with modern food, they put so many things that trick your taste buds.
Yes, 100%, absolutely right. So people like to smoke, but that doesn't mean it's good for them.
Right.
The people that like to use drugs, it's not good for them. So the fact that you like it doesn't mean it's okay.
Yeah.
So the concept of the Gracie diet is to learn to like what's good for you.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I was born in a family where my Uncle Carlos, who was not a doctor, spent 65 years studying food combining. He literally using the family as guinea pigs. We had a very big house in a place called Teresópolis, which was an hour from downtown Rio, with 21 bedrooms and 18 bathrooms.
Wow.
We counted one time 37 children, all relatives staying there for a summer vacation.
Huh.
It's crazy stuff. But the bottom line is
That
that
must have been fun,
It was a
actually,
lot
have
of
that
fun,
much family
indeed.
together.
Crazy times, yes. Wonderful times. So all the meals were prepared according to the Gracie diet. So the kids would just eat what we had. This is it. There's lunch right here. They have no choice. So there's no, I don't want to eat this. There's no such a thing. It's just that's like a little army, a very Spartan lifestyle. Training jiu-jitsu, eating right. That was a very unique
And you saw
environment.
people's health change as they started doing that?
Well,
with this diet?
we just grew up like this.
Oh, you grew up, so you had
There's
no,
there's no choice. This is it.
How about the other kids that were just visiting for the summer for the first time? Did
Well,
they notice a difference?
Those 37 kids were all relatives. They're all family.
Okay, so they were
But
all,
if every
yeah.
time we had people out, they would just fall into the groove and eat like we ate.
Yeah.
There was no choice of taking junk in there. There's no Coca-Cola in the fridge ever.
Yeah.
You know, there's no sodas and stuff like that. No, it didn't exist.
Yeah.
And everybody just ate right and learned to eat right, and that was the bottom line. So when I wrote this book, my idea was to share with people, because while I was teaching classes out of my garage, a lot of people came and say, "Honey, tell me about what you're eating now. What kind of meal is that? You're preparing this and that." And I kept giving them some tips, but there was never enough. So I decided to write the book, explain to everybody how to follow into it, and then literally impact their lives in a positive way.
Let me read some of the, there's a lot to this. You go out and buy this book. They can get it on Amazon.
Amazon, yes.
So, the Gracie diet in a nutshell here. For juicing apples, melons, pineapples, carrots, use a juicer. Oh, this is this is the juicing. So it's big on juicing. You have fasting. You fast once a month.
Well, I fast once a month.
Food combinations is the main thing.
Is the main
Actually,
thing.
here's my breakfast that I was gonna eat, and I ate a little bit, but then I felt guilty. So we had bread was okay.
Bread and the butter and the kale was, the eggs and the kale was great.
Kale was great, but I had this, and you said I shouldn't have this at the same time.
That is
Now,
correct.
what's the reason?
The reason is this, because these are the citric fruits. You know, the strawberries and
Yes.
the blueberries
Right.
are acidic fruits.
Okay.
Acidic fruits should not be mixed with anything else.
So you eat that alone.
You eat strawberries, you have a bucket of just strawberries. Make that meal out of that.
Okay.
Same thing with the blueberries and blackberries. All acidic fruits.
Can you have blueberries and strawberries together?
No.
So
Only
separate.
one kind of acidic fruit per meal. That's it.
Okay.
Nothing else.
Because what happens then if you eat them at the same time?
It brings
There's a
acidity to
process.
the system, yes.
Okay.
That's what you want to avoid.
But how come if you just have one, it doesn't bring as much acidity?
Because it's not mixed with anything else.
Oh, okay.
We all need gasoline.
Yes.
We all need fire.
Yes.
Don't put them together.
Yes.
Boom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's important to have gasoline, important to have fire. So the vitamins of different fruits is great. To have a variety of fruits and vegetables and stuff is great. The trick is how to combine them right. This should not be called a diet. I should make a point of saying that, clarifying this, because it's not limiting.
Right.
Look at the list of
Yeah, you
things
can
that
eat almost
everything, anything.
So no pork is one thing not
The
to
only
have.
thing we don't eat is pork.
Pork.
Yes.
And
Other than
some
that-
things you eat a little bit less. Like you said, like dairy, have some cheese, but not a lot of milk and things like that.
That's right. You don't
Yeah.
need milk. The less milk you drink, the better. But if you like to drink milk, it's okay.
Yes.
You're not forbidden from eating, drinking
Right.
milk. It's just, I don't drink milk, you don't need milk.
Yeah.
You know, the idea of, a good-looking lady in a bathing suit or a strong-looking guy on a bathing suit, a little milk mustache,
Right.
they want to sell milk. It's
Right,
not
that's
good
a
for you.
commercial.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. It's not something that you need.
Then this is kind of a
This is-
quick overview of the groups of food, right?
That's right. And
So you have, we'll take some close-ups of this. We have
the vegetables right here, vegetables
Group
and
A.
grain.
So Group A, you can combine all of these things with
One of Group B.
one of Group B,
Right
which
here.
is here.
Group B
Or
is-
it can be grouped with itself.
Of course, all
A
Group A
with
combine
A.
with each other.
So for example, in Group A, you have
Vegetables and greens.
green beans, kale, mushrooms. So you could have like a salad
Yes.
with one meat or seafood, like
or two
chicken.
or three or four.
Oh, okay, 2 or 3. And you could also have fat and oily foods like
Yeah.
avocado,
Almonds, avocado,
some
cashews, all that.
melted cheese.
All
and
that
you
stuff.
can combine it with one
Yeah,
starch.
with rice, not rice and beans, or with
Ah.
pasta, not pasta.
So you could have
and
rice, but you wouldn't have this with bread and rice.
Correct. Only one of them.
Lentils. Now, Group C,
Those are the sweet fruits and cheeses. Yes.
so these can combine with a starch.
As long as you don't have fat on the starch,
Which one's fat? There.
butter, oil or butter here. If you don't,
So you could have just say lentil soup
if it's not
and-
prepared with fat,
if with no fat. If
yeah,
it's,
no oil, no butter, no nothing.
then
you
you could have an apple.
Right. You can have watermelon juice. You can have dates. You can have papaya, and you can have some crackers.
And now D is also acidic fruits, right?
D are the acidic fruit group.
What was
correct.
C? Not
C is the sweet fruits.
oh, sweet fruits. So
Yeah.
you separate sweet.
From acidic.
What about this green tea? What do you think?
It's okay. Tea is
What do you-
neutral.
Tea's can be
Teas are
with
neutral.
everything.
Everything you want. Yeah.
Just like water.
Just like water.
So you can have water with A, B, C. There's
Yes.
E. There's A, B, C, D, E.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So then D
F
is
right
your
here, is the milk.
So D things, acidic fruits do not combine with each other. So like for example, mango, you should
Only
just
mango.
eat a mango.
Not a mango, a whole bunch of mangoes. I eat 15 mangoes in a meal.
Really?
Yes, but that's only mangoes. yeah.
Grapefruit, same thing.
Same thing.
Just have some grapefruits.
That's correct.
Now group E is interesting. Is just bananas?
No, that says that raw bananas combine with these foods and do not combine with these.
So you're big on bananas. People should eat bananas.
Yeah, it's a great
You know
food.
what's interesting? When I track my diet in my Fitness Pal, almost all, and I eat pretty healthy, potassium you don't get, and bananas give you that potassium.
Yeah.
So does coconut water.
Yes.
Most people, if you track your diet, you don't get, and potassium is one of the major things you need.
Yes.
So you can have raw bananas with
With this group,
cheese,
yeah, with
apple,
this.
but not with honey.
Yes, or bread.
And you're not big on sugar in general. Like,
I eat so much sweet stuff already from the fruits that
Yeah.
you don't need to put the sugar, you know.
so get your dessert from some fruit.
Not dessert. There's no dessert.
Okay, because there's no dessert because you wouldn't eat a meal and then have this.
A fruit with
Just
it.
have it as a
That's
meal.
right. Have it as a meal. That's
Now,
correct.
the other thing that you talk about in the book is that you should only eat. Oh, actually,
Especially-
let me do this. So, group F is milk, what you can have with milk.
And you, yes.
So, don't have milk with fruit.
Avocado and fruits and stuff like that. That is correct.
What about milk? So, you can have milk with
You can have milk and cereal if you want.
Milk
Although
and-
we know that cereal, a lot of them are junk.
bad.
But
This is homemade granola. Bread should be made from whole flour and should not be consumed. Oh, you should wait, let it
24 hours before. Usually when you buy bread somewhere, it's been there for 24 hours.
Right,
it's
so that's
okay.
good. Avoid sweets, canned food, pepper, clover, cinnamon, pickles, and don't eat pork.
Correct.
Now, the other big thing is you should eat every 4.5 hours.
Well, you should
3
space
meals.
your meals at least 4.5 hours. Not that you have to eat every 4.5 hours.
Okay.
But you have to have a space in between meals at least 4.5 to
Without
5 hours.
snacks in between.
No snacks, only water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then fasting, you were telling me about Nobel Prize winning
This year,
a winner,
2016.
2016,
Yeah.
won a Nobel Prize along this, what your father knew and uncle knew 100 years ago.
Well, we've been saying that for a long time. The idea of autophagy, so he described, the Japanese scientist, explaining that when you fast, you literally help your body by not consuming it into clean house. It has to eat.
So it eats old cells and things like
yes,
this.
it's a great cleansing process for you and helps you.
So do you do that?
Yes, once a month I do fasting.
Just 24 hours.
No eat or drink anything.
But just water? You're allowed
I
to?
don't drink water.
Really?
Yeah, just take a day you're gonna rest and just
Huh.
chill.
But for someone new, maybe they could just have
drink
water.
in the beginning
Yeah.
until they get it. But it's not that bad.
You can do it without water.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Well, just resting a day that you don't have to go to work or anything like that. Just kind
Yeah.
of chill a little bit, get a book and relax.
Huh.
Yeah.
Now, for somebody watching, you were telling me how sometimes it's too overwhelming to
Yes.
go from the modern diet to switch to this. So you created a system with the belt ranking systems
That is correct.
where you do it in levels till you're a black belt.
Correct.
Each one about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So you start out with white belt,
Yes.
which is just drink water first in the morning. It's also big on sanitation. Wash your hands before
It's
every meal.
important, eh? You have
Yeah.
to wash your hands before you eat. Doesn't
Yeah.
hurt. I mean, the amount of contamination and bacteria that you're going to avoid by just simply washing your hands is it's staggering. So you should do that. No reason why not.
I actually read, there's an interesting book I read years ago on, they just did an experiment with the average person, and they said not only when you wash your hands, but put soap under the nail, because
Yeah.
it's the nails that carry most of the, so, and then, okay, and then, so then get in the habit of writing down what you eat.
On the first week only. You
Okay.
don't have to do it every week.
Okay.
So wash your hands.
What's the idea, why do you think, what's the benefit? Just people start to see how much crazy
right.
things they eat?
That's right. So if you write everything down that you eat during a week,
Yeah.
it helps you keep you accountable.
Yes.
It's like the person who has no idea how much money they're spending. If they write down every penny they spend,
Yes.
on the end of the month they're gonna say, wow, I wasted so much money in this and this and that.
Yeah.
And the same thing with food. If you start writing down what you eat,
Yeah.
you're gonna realize that I'm eating more than I need and whatever.
You can use, if you like to use apps, there's a great free app called MyFitnessPal that you can enter your food. That counts too, right? Just keeping track.
Of course,
Yeah.
keeping track of it, 100%.
So then after a week or two, you go to blue belt, which you continue to do everything you did in the white belt,
Correct.
washing your hands, drink water, except you don't need
You
to
don't need
write
to
down.
write
You don't
again.
write it. Then you start eliminating desserts, sweet or fruits after cooked meal.
Yes, after cooked meal. It's just not that you shouldn't eat.
So you
fruit.
can have fruits,
Yes.
but just not
After-
as dessert.
as dessert.
As their own 4.5 hour later meal.
Exactly.
And then you can drink water, carbonated water, coconut water, veggie juice, iced tea, but no lemon or sugar. Then
Right.
after that, you do that for a few weeks. Then you go to purple belt, which is the third belt, you do everything that you were doing before, and now you start to do the combinations.
You implement the combinations.
But now you've already been a month of changing your habits.
That's right.
So it's not so hard.
Not so hard at all. That's the idea.
And you eliminate pork.
And you eliminate pork. The concept of combining foods is the most important. Because
Yes.
I know a lot of people say, I only eat organic food. Eating organic is an important step that you are becoming aware of what you're eating. It's very smart.
Right.
But if you don't combine the foods properly,
Doesn't matter.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The reaction is still going to be acidic in your system, and that's going to bring unwanted results.
Now, then next you go to brown belt, where you continue to do everything you've been learning, but now you start spacing the meal
At least 4.5
4.5
to 5
hours, and you only do this 6 days a week, and you get 1 day cheat day.
That's right, 6 days a week.
Yeah, so
And
you
the-
can take Saturdays for, I always do Saturday for my cheat day.
And the reason I recommend you do that is that if you spend 6 days of the week eating right, spacing your meals, combining your foods properly, and on the other day, on the 7th day, you mess up, you'll feel so sick that you're
Oh,
gonna
right.
say, wow, what the heck
You
was I
stop
thinking?
doing it.
You stop doing it. Then it went automatically evolve to the black belt when you start eating every day correctly.
So then when by the time you do a black belt, then you start doing this 7 days a week and teaching others.
You feel so good. You just
So this is about it's interesting. It takes, for those of you in my 67 steps, it takes about 2.5 months to change old habits. Scientists have found.
Is that right?
University, yeah, University of College
Oh, wow.
London came up with a study. They used to say you can change habits in 30 days, quit smoking, change your diet, but they said you need about 67 days. And this is interesting. This black belt is right around 67 days. So
Interesting.
you kind of found out
Right. What do
you
you
were
know?
ahead of the scientist. Now, question for you. Let's say somebody watching this buys the book, starts implementing the diet. What type of results have you seen? Weight loss, getting a six-pack, feeling better, disease going? What have you seen?
All of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any stories you can think of that are just stand out to you of people?
Yes, I have a student who's a gastroenterologist down
Okay.
at Torrance Memorial, and had a patient who was morbidly obese.
Mm-hmm.
She was doing an 8-month program to have the stomach reduction
Oh,
procedure
right.
done.
Yeah.
She was diabetic. She had high blood pressure and high cholesterol.
Yeah.
He gave her the Gracie Diet book. 6.5 months later, he was in his office, and the woman came to thank him and give him a hug, which he did not know who the person
He
was.
couldn't recognize her.
He couldn't recognize her.
Wow.
She lost 52 kilograms, over 100
Wow.
pounds. She was no longer diabetic, no longer high blood pressure, no longer high cholesterol. She canceled the procedure. She didn't have the stomach reduction done.
Wow.
A happy 53-year-old woman. So
Wow.
I was very happy to see that. And for me, it's no surprise. If you eat right,
Yeah.
you'll be fine. You know,
Yeah.
what people should not do is forget that eating should not be something that you live for that. Eating is something to nourish your body, to keep you going.
Right.
If you're driving your car on the freeway and a little red light start blinking on the panel, do you put a Band-Aid and keep driving, or you pull over to a mechanic and say, what the heck is that?
Right.
Of course. So if you have a heartburn and you take a medicine or Zantac or whatever it is to stop the heartburn, don't think life is good.
Right.
This
You're
is a
just
Band-Aid.
You're just putting a Band-Aid
That's
over.
right.
For somebody who's watching, what about combining, let's say somebody wants to start doing jujitsu, do even professional athletes follow this type of diet?
They should.
Yeah.
The ones that are not should be doing
But I'm
it.
saying in jujitsu, are there some people that practice this?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, 100%. Of
'Cause-
course.
and your brothers.
Yes, all
Yeah.
of them do that. You know what I'm saying? All of the whole Gracie family has been doing this for
And
a long time.
Hickson Gracie.
Oh, of course.
Hickson is one of the. Did he ever lose a fight?
No,
I think he's like.
Hickson is impossible to deal with, man. Guy's too much.
Did you spar with him, Howard? Was he the hardest?
When he was younger, of course I'll play with him, but then as we get older, I'm the older brother,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. He was just young.
Who was the hardest person you ever?
It's also
Rolled
always
with?
in the family.
Really?
Yeah, those guys are just, eventually somebody's going to catch your foot,
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a part of the tradition, because there's always the change of the guard. That's the old man used to
Yeah.
say that. When a little baby's born, so be nice to him.
Because one day he's going to be able to beat you.
catch
What about things like, I saw a documentary on jiu-jitsu and it had Hickson Gracie doing some yoga and breathing.
Yes.
Do you think that's the type of
That's
thing's important?
wonderful, yeah.
Yeah.
Very good stuff for him. Yeah. And Hickson's really good.
And
very good.
stretching,
And
all the-
stretching, yeah. Uncle Carlos used to say that as long as you're flexible, you're young.
Yeah.
So make sure that you stretch and keep, exercising, that kind of stuff is very important. But more important than all that is eating right.
Yeah.
Because I don't care how much you exercise.
Because so many people go to the gym all the time,
And eat
but
junk.
they never. So I'm going to tell you an interesting story. I never told you this. My dad was one of the first professional bodybuilders in the world, and so when he was born, he had, I think it was rheumatic fever, something with his heart, when he was 1 year old. And so the doctors told my grandparents, this boy will probably live to 12 years old. He's probably gonna die. My dad was born in Harlem in New York. And they were poor, and they said, whatever you do, don't have him do hard exercise. It'll hurt him. Well, my dad just sat inside till he was about 12, 13, and then he found an article on bodybuilding, and he started to lift weights and his diet. My dad always had a great diet. No, my dad didn't have a sweet tooth at all, never ate sugar. And he went from this kid who was supposed to be dead at 12 or 13 to, by the time he became Mr. Canada, Mr. Puerto Rico, he had the world record bench press. So many times in life, we have things outside of our control. Who you're born to, where you're born, poverty, abusive parents and things like that. And if you just focus on what you can control, a big one's diet.
Of course.
And I don't care if you can diet, lifting weights, you can do if you're in prison. When you control everything within your control. I tell this for entrepreneurs in business. People say, how can they make more money? I say, well, are you optimizing what you actually can? Because some people go, if I could just get an investor to give me $1 million, I'd be able to grow my business. But I say, if I came to your office right now, is it optimized with what's around you? And we all, humans, I think, at least myself, there's a natural bad habit to look outside for the answer when you realize it's simple stuff like diet.
Of course.
Which everybody knows, but nobody does.
Exactly.
For somebody watching this that's worried about willpower, what are some things you found? Because we live in a world, I go out, there's pizza, or you go to the movies, there's no good food, even if you want to eat healthy. How do you build the discipline? Is it by fasting once a month? Is it just long enough doing this? Do you have tricks? Do you bring your own food with you?
A lot of times, my traveling has a lot to do with what I'm going to eat when I get there.
Okay.
So eating for me is a major aspect of any project that I do. What am I going to eat?
Okay.
Worst comes to worst, I'll just fast. I won't
Really?
eat anything. If it's bad stuff, I just don't eat.
Huh.
I don't have to go to a movie and eat. I have dinner and then I go to a movie.
Yeah.
Full time, I don't have to be eating popcorn and soda.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, why should I have to eat? That's not. People just culturally, they get used to certain things. And the trick is to re-educate yourself and learn the good habits because they are as difficult to break as the bad habits.
Right. So if you can get in a good habit.
Get in a good habit, you're in good shape. And that's the trick.
What about one thing that I've found, who you're around matters too.
Of course.
So if you hang out with people that go to a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu school, it's going to be easier because they might be following the same diet. I've always found it hard to 100% rely on willpower if my environment is messed up.
Yeah, the environment has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're the one that influence and change the environment as well. Depends on how convinced and how much conviction you have in what you're doing.
Yeah.
I've been many times in environments that I say, you know what, this is the way it should be, and before you know it, there's people following and learning and doing this.
Yeah.
I came here, started in the garage. Nobody knew anything about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Look at everybody does jiu-jitsu now.
Yeah.
So I just was able to, because of my convictions and my beliefs and the way I handled the thing, literally change the world.
Was there back in that time, was there even any jiu-jitsu people in America?
There's some people that did jiu-jitsu, but the Japanese jiu-jitsu.
Not Brazilian
Not
jiu-jitsu.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu, yeah. In fact, that's why I started.
When did your other family start to come? Other Gracies?
After the UFC, 20 years later.
Oh, so in the mid-90s.
Mid-90s, yeah.
So you had already been here 20 years.
Yes.
Huh. So you're a pioneer.
Kind of, yeah.
That's good. Well, this has been awesome. So I want to just kind of close by saying one thing that I found in life, whoever experiments the most wins. So might be something you haven't heard before. Experiment with it. You can follow this simple thing. It's 2.5 months. Now, if they buy the book, this has all these inside. All this
correct.
information.
This information.
So if you buy this book, it's not, how expensive is it? It's $20. And try it. Just try it, because so many people in the personality, there's something called the Hexaco personality score. You take a test, it tells you 25 things about yourself, okay? This is the newest scientific test. It came out in 2000. And one of the factors in your personality that predicts your success, it's called openness to new experience. So many people miss out on life because anything, like you said, that they haven't heard growing up, they'll be like, I don't want to try.
Yes.
And one way you make a heck of a lot more money, if you look at everybody who made money, a lot of money, billionaires, they did something, they experimented with something when other people thought it was crazy. Bill Gates, you know, these people doing computers at 12. Elon Musk starting the car company, Tesla. Even some of Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett told him he shouldn't do it, but he saw something and was willing to experiment. So try something new. I mean, diet is, at the end of the day, if you don't have health, I know a guy that's got $1 billion, but he's so overweight he can't even get out of bed. All the money in the world, you wouldn't want that.
You wouldn't want that.
If I could wire you $1 billion now, but one condition, you'd be so fat and unhealthy that you couldn't get out of bed and you'd have to lay in a hospital bed the rest of your life. Nobody would take that deal, even for $1 billion, because you can't use the money if you can't move.
I often tell my kids that I'd rather be on a crossroads on a dirt road in China, in the middle of nowhere, a pair of shorts, shirtless, in the rain, at night, completely lost, with good health, than being in a castle with all the money in the world at my disposal with bad health.
Yeah.
With good health, you can take any situation, you can handle anything. There's no stopping you.
Yeah.
That's what it is, that's the trick.
One last thing I was going to ask you, you said earlier that stuck with me. If somebody watching, yesterday I posted on my Snapchat, have you had something happen to you in life? Something bad recently? And when I do that about once a month, I post on my social media. And every time I'm surprised by the literal, I would say, it's hard to count, but 10,000 or more people write me in one day with sad stories. I mean, it's almost, I can't even look at them all. The last one I was looking at, you know, it's mom died, sister has cancer, little son's dying, all these things. And you were saying earlier that in your experience with jiu-jitsu, the diet, and just your life, there's always something good.
Yes.
But how, in the midst of that, when it's so hard and so painful, how do you have the faith to believe that?
I guess you said it all right there, having the faith to believe that.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I believe it's comforting to me to see it that way.
So you don't think it's random and it's just, no. Yeah.
I took, many years ago, I took a balloon trip.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And,
you mean up?
Yeah. The balloon. And I drove 2.5 hours to get to like Lake Perry or something like that. And you had to be there at 6 o'clock so that you can see the sunrise at 6:30 on the balloon. So I drive 2.5 hours and I get there and the balloon is filling up with helium. And I hop in a little basket, which is like pretty much a very small thing. There's a couple, that's me and a friend and the pilot. And he turned on the gas and in 3 minutes you're at 3,000 feet.
Yeah.
Very quiet over there. And as I'm looking up, I'm looking down from the balloon, very silence in the wind and stuff like that. I see the freeway is like a little line like this with thousands of cars going towards downtown. And I look like a little ants, you know? And I'm looking, gosh, little ants on the car. I'm thinking, wow, each one of those little cars, which is like the size of an ant, has a person in it, which is smaller than that car. Each person has a head that's smaller than them. You can barely see now at that point. And each head has a brain in it, and each of those people on those cars, thousands of people, has the worst worry, the biggest, more stress than anybody else. Each one of them thinks they have the worst problems on their shoulders. Everybody thinks, oh my gosh, my life is here. Every single one of them. And I'm looking over there. It took me 2.5 hours to drive to that location. The lake that I drove around is nothing but a little pool of water. The mountain I drove around is just a little pile of dirt. And looking from over there, I said, gosh, each one of those are little tiny things, so worried about everything. It made me realize that we don't have the right to worry about anything. We're too insignificant on the big, the scheme of things, that we don't have to worry about. Each person has, oh my gosh, I gotta do this. Everybody has worries all the time. Don't worry about a thing. Just relax, let it cruise by, wait, do the right thing. Try not to cheat and do the deceive people and whatever. Do what your heart tells you is the right thing to do, and things will just fall in place, 100%. I came back from the balloon trip a different person, realizing that I could not worry about a thing in my life, never worry about a thing. My son, the young son, told me one thing very interesting a few months ago that it really captured my way of looking at things. He said, when God pushes you off a cliff, he's either going to catch you on the way down or give you wings and teach you how to fly.
Yeah.
So
But what happens if you feel like it's your fault, like God didn't push you off, like you did something stupid?
Well, learn from that.
Yeah.
If you learn from every stupid thing, I try to learn from the stupid things so I don't do them again and again.
Yeah.
But if you learn from every stupid thing you did a mistake, you learn the lesson and move on.
Yeah.
That's what life is about. It's not a question of falling, as we know. It's a question of getting up and moving on again.
Yeah.
That's what the whole thing is about. Falling is okay. Are you going to get up and keep going, or are you going to quit on that fall?
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's what it is. I mean, it's been a very interesting experience for me to believe that things happen for a reason. That alone is so many experience opportunities that I've had to see that. And when the things all fail, everything else about to collapse, you just say, hey, I did what I could, did the best I could. Is it going to happen or not? And if it's meant to be, it's going to be. If not, I'll try again next time. When I was creating the academy, inaugurating the academy a few years ago, I brought a guy who do the stucco outside the building. Mm-hmm. Have you been to the academy in Torrance?
Yes. I've been. Yeah.
So I had a big, huge open door, because it was before it became the academy, it was a car parts storage location.
Okay.
So they had the big roll-up doors, the
Yeah.
metal doors, and it was cinder block all around. It was a big cement square like this. And the guy came in to do the stucco on a Thursday. He said, I'll be here Saturday to cover the whole place. What are you going to do for a door? I said, I'm going to put a glass door, which is what we have now. He said, if you're going to put a glass door, you have to put a beam, a wood beam, so that you can then screw the metal frame of the door and then put your glass in there. I had no idea we needed that. So I said, I'm going to find a beam. That's on a Thursday. On Friday, I call. Nobody had the beam available because it's a 3-day process.
Right.
You have to order. It takes 3 days. The industrial side is 16 by 4. It's not the little 2 by 4 that you buy at Home Depot.
Right.
So I have to call a lot of people. Nobody had it available. Finally, someone said, hey, I have one here. Somebody ordered a month and a half ago. They never picked it up. I said, it's mine. I'm on my way up. So I went there, picked up the beam. In order to secure the beam, you need a shoe, a metal shoe like this, that you screw to the wall, and then the beam sits on top of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
True. However, if you put, there's the cement frame, if you put the beam here, the shoe, both of them, there's no way you can put if you put the shoes against the wall, you can't fit the beam in there.
Oh.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
You need one shoe that you can screw this way, put the beam, and the other shoe you have to be able to screw from the outside because it's going to come to hold it.
Yeah.
Do you follow me?
Yep.
But this reverse one didn't come with the beam. I had two that came with the beam that are like this.
Okay. So you had two of the same.
They're two the same, that wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So my friend said, Hardy, we need to get this reverse one. So we ran to Home Depot. And we get there, and I asked the lady, do you have one this size, 16 by 4? She said, no, we don't carry this. I said, where do you carry the beam? She said, we don't have this kind. We'll go check out aisle 8, but we don't have that. So I go to aisle 8, I start looking, and I find one beam like that.
Huh.
The big one.
Yeah.
Only one. I brought to the front, and she said, wow, you found one? I said, yeah, I found one. And she runs the barcode
Yeah, the
reader.
barcode scanner, yeah.
Click, click. She said, it's not from here.
Huh, somebody left
Somebody left it.
Huh.
Isn't that interesting? I can't even charge you. You can take it for free. So I took it home, put it in there. The next morning, the guy was able to put the whole stucco.
Huh.
The leftover one I had, I left it on the wall. I framed it.
Huh.
And I said, somebody must be training jiu-jitsu in heaven. Great. In other words, it was the last thing for me. 1 week before the grand opening, everything is already happening. So I didn't find that shoe. Now go to any Home Depot in the country, you're not going to find one.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
That when everything for me was just like, the last thing I needed was thing to support that stuff. A week before the grand opening, they don't carry it, but somebody left one in there for me.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's like, hey,
Sign.
keep doing the right thing.
Yeah.
All right. So
Well,
me being here is a special
You
blessing
watching,
as well.
no, for me, and you watching this video, I say whenever you see something like this, if you've watched this far, things happen for a reason. So
Check it out. It will change your life forever. Like nothing like this.
leave a comment below if you've done the Gracie diet or questions you have.
And let me tell you something else.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people that watch your stuff.
Yeah.
This is how confident I am on the book.
Yeah.
Get the book. Try it for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Follow the guidelines of the book for 2 weeks. If you don't feel better,
Yeah.
I'll buy the book back from you.
Yeah.
Home Depot.
Full refund. Yeah.
Nobody does. I'll give you the money back.
Yeah.
Send me the receipt, the book in good conditions, and I'll buy the book back.
Yeah.
Nobody gives you money back guarantee on your book. Only I do that. Do it for 2 weeks, 100%, and I'll let you know.
I like that you have here, by the way, if you're at the Cheesecake Factory, what you should order.
That's right.
So that's pretty practical. Cheesecake Factory, some things you shouldn't. So you think orange chicken is okay? deep fried chicken breast in a sweet. It says deep fry is tolerable. Here's the problem: sweet and spicy.
So I'm gonna give you the tips on how to order the food.
Okay. What do you do on orange chicken? Because
What
I
does it
love
say?
orange chicken.
Yeah.
So it says deep fried and sweet, served over white rice and garnished with vegetables.
What is this?
So you should pass on the wheat bread.
So if you're gonna eat rice, don't eat the bread.
That's good because I've always been skipping the orange chicken. I love orange chicken. It's my weakness. That's awesome. Well, this is such a cool book. Tips for losing weight, which you have managed carbs.
If you eat right, losing weight is just a natural consequence
Yes.
of that. You know, that's the trick.
Yes.
Like the headache. Why should people have a headache? Because you're thinking too much? Come on, your head was made to think.
Yeah.
You know?
This is interesting. Take a 15 to 30 minute nap every day.
I try to do it every single day.
That's important. Man, when
very
I
helpful,
take a
yeah.
nap, it changes your life.
I know.
That's something. Even 5-minute nap, if you don't have the time.
That's right.
And here you have some meal plans,
Meal plans,
that can
yeah.
actually be followed. So
That's
like
right.
breakfast, you have oatmeal, raisins, apple juice. Lunch, you'll have looks like a salad here,
Yeah, and then this
olive
is for
oil.
lunch. Yes.
So this is just a vegetarian right here.
No, this is salad that should precede your entry. So this is
Oh.
a meal right here. Lunch is this too.
Oh, okay. So you have salad. Okay. So you think 3 meals a day is enough?
That's all you need.
Now, what if somebody's watching and they're a bodybuilder? They're
Okay.
trying to. So just eat more?
The question is, you can eat as much as you want.
Yeah.
Within reason, of course.
Yeah.
You don't want to feel sick after you ate so much. The question is this: do you want to get big or do you want to be healthy?
Right.
That's the plan.
So some people you think are too big.
I don't think anything. They have to decide for themselves.
Right.
It's not me telling
How
them
they
how
feel.
how they feel.
Yeah.
Sometimes the guy's huge, but
Yeah.
they feel sick all the time.
Yeah.
You know.
Or they're not that athletic.
Whatever.
Dinner, I like this. Watermelon juice, cottage cheese, rye bread, raisins, dates. So is this
A meal.
dinner?
That's a meal. That's what
That's
I have.
all-
That's
that's
a meal, another meal. Each one of them. You can have whatever it is.
So not necessarily you don't have meat, it looks like at night.
At night, no. I usually have fruits for breakfast,
Yep.
and I have cooked meal during the day because your metabolism
Yeah.
is more active. It's easier to digest.
Yeah.
And at night, I usually have fruits or some veggie juice
Or
something
some
like that.
cottage cheese.
Something like that. Yeah.
Avocado.
You sleep better if you have a lighter meal at night instead of having cooked food.
Yeah. I love cottage cheese.
Yeah, just try this
So is
stuff
this
for a couple
this is week 2.
weeks. Yes. Do that
Awesome.
for 2 weeks and there's no stopping you.
And sun, you're big on. Get enough sun.
Come on, man.
Brazil.
Born in Brazil.
Brazil.
You have to go to the beach if you can.
Man, if you've never been to Brazil, has some of the prettiest women in the world. Eggplant quiche. I'm getting hungry actually watching this. Has it been 4.5 hours yet? Well, thank you so much.
you very
This
much.
was
I
awesome.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
If you want the chance to enter into one of my free giveaways, here's all you have to do. Number 1, subscribe to my podcast. And then secondly, leave an honest review of my podcast. What do you think of it? All right. I pick random reviewers to win either an iPhone 7, a GoPro Black, a MacBook Air, iPad, Kindle. And then I've been doing these once a month free car giveaways, giving away a Mustang or Camaro to one random social media follower. Podcast followers are entered into that too. So you'll get your free chance to enter. Just leave an honest review and make sure you subscribe to my podcast. All right. I hope you win one of the giveaways. Talk to you soon. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast in iTunes or wherever it is you like to listen so that you don't miss out on any new episodes as they come out.